I promise from this day forward to never hurt or harass another human being, individual, or entity, regardless of their race, culture, sexual orientation, identity, individuality, or spiritual affiliation. I've chosen this path freely, and I'll live on this path now and forever. I'll welcome any chance to do better for myself and humanity. Question: are reparations from church a good idea? Are reparations from churches a good idea? Are reparations from churches a good idea? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you buckle up. My name is Star Fury, founder of EndRacismForever.org, and today I want to talk about. Welcome back to our very first videocast. We're still going to do the SoundCloud thing, but right now I want to see if this YouTube thing is actually going to work. All right, so. Where am I? Oh yeah. So I want to talk about something I found just here a couple weeks ago in December. This was from PBS Hour Weekend, and it was published. Let me see if I could hold on for a minute. Just bear with me. There you go. It was published on December the 13th, 2020 at 4:38 p.m. And it says more U.S. churches are committing to racism-linked reparations. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will go into this right here in this middle paragraph. It says, and the Minnesota Council of Churches cites a host of injustices from mid-19th century atrocities against Native Americans to police killings of black people in launching a first-of-its-kind Truth and Reparations initiative engaging in its 25-member donations. So, again, my name is Star Fury. I'm the founder and CEO of EndRacismForever.org. I have podcasts that's on SoundCloud, and we're trying this whole new thing. I have new equipment, new camera, and we're going to see what we could do on YouTube. So this here, and so my question to you is, for those who follow us, is this a good idea? Now, reparations, as you know what reparations are, is a group of funding to a group of people who suffered under the hands of another. Suffered so much that they have to, it follows them generation to generation. We know that the Japanese during World War II who were in those internment camps out in California, you know that when they come out, they got reparations from the U.S. government. We know that slave owners receive reparations from the Americas and from the English. You know, when, remember, slaves were considered a property, and so when you part of a business. And then when you lose that property or business, when you have a cut in that business, which slaves were property, you know, you may be eligible to get some type of financial assistance from the government. So these business owners and, well, these slave owners, I should say, well, business owners in Louisiana, in the Caribbean that lost all these slaves were granted by their governments, the French, the Dutch, the English, the Spanish, Spain. They were granted reparations. All these families that owned slaves, and it followed them from generation to generation. So the past, 500 years now, four and a half, wherever, when slavery ended and actually began, these families who own slaves are still getting reparations to this day. Native Americans get reparations. They get a certain type of, they get reparations, but not only that, they have the opportunity to have their own businesses. They have, casinos. I found this out, you know, coming from Trinidad to America. I had no idea that the majority of casinos in the U.S. are owned by Native Americans. I had no idea. So, is it a good idea? Yes, it's a good idea. Is it due? Is it due? Yes, it's due. It's long overdue, I should say. But is it going to continue? That's the question. Is it going to continue? Is it going to continue? Are these reparations, is it just a fad, or is it actually something that's going to last us for a long time? Is it going to continue? Is it? Are the companies going to do it? Heck, we have no funding. Actually, with the permission from the board of our organization, EndRacismForever.org, our CEO Ron gave me the thumbs up to send a letter out to the church, the Catholic Church here in Baltimore. See if we can get funding. I mean, here we are. You know, our goal is to end racism, sexism, and ism, to pass along this company when we leave this earth, to give it to another group of people who can take it forward, who can end the charge, or actually lead the charge, you know, to end racism and sexism and every other ism. The NFL, they gave out a portion. Black Lives Matter got tons of billions of dollars to assist them. Movie deals, everything. So is it a good idea? Heck yeah, it's a good idea. If you remember in history, well, I had to learn this in history when I was growing up in the island of Trinidad, that slaves, when the West Africans went into Central America to get the slaves, when they came back, the English and the Spaniards and the Dutch, they all justified it by having a Catholic priest stand at the shores when they were bringing in the slaves to tell these new slaves, or these they would say savages, you're doing the greatest thing because of God. Yeah, it's in the history book. Well, we had to know this. I don't know about y'all growing up in America, but we had to know this, as we had to know about slavery and emancipation and independence growing up in the islands of Trinidad, and even on St. Croix when I was growing up in high school. We had to know that stuff. About the culture and the way the islands were developed. So, is it a good thing to get reparations from the church? Absolutely. Question is, though, will it continue? Will other people really take it in for the long haul? We're here for the long haul. I'll gladly turn this over to a young person who could definitely take the charge on this and lead it into for another 5,000 years from now. Because remember, people would say ending racism. You have other people, like, I remember 2 years ago I was watching the Rogan show. He was interviewing someone. He said, hey, racism won't end. And I'm like, it's good to be any other race than black people to say racism won't end. Really? Here it is. Black people have been struggling. Americans, African descendants of slaves, as you would say, they've been struggling for years. They decimated the populace. They sent them somewhere. They can't live there. They have to move. They started a Black Wall Street. They burned it down. And then you sit here in 2000, I forgot what it was, 2019, I don't know. Yeah, racism will never end. Perpetuating that hate. Instead of saying, you know what, we need to give it a try. We need to really start moving our mindset away from that and start going into a direction of healing and helping and changing the minds and hearts of people. We need to start doing that. Anyway, that's what it is. These churches are let me move my mouse over. Keeps coming over. Move! There it is. These churches, yeah, they it's a good start. I think it is. I know a lot of other organizations and other people think it's a good idea. You have to break it. In my other podcast, which I kind of know is probably chopped up, or because I didn't have a new camera, so I'm I didn't know that it stops at a certain time. Don't ever break out your new equipment and try it on the first time. Experiment, okay? I should experiment, but I'm gonna get better lighting next time and all that. But anyway, what was I saying? You have to break the cycle. You have to break it. You have to break that mindset. You got to. You can't evolve into this world. You can't go into, as I always tell people, you're going to go into space and colonize other planets, other places, and you're going to take the same hatred with you. You're going to take all this vow with you. I don't care if you're the greatest astronaut, whatever. You still have that innate of dominance in you. You're going to take that with you? Instead of trying to deal with the stuff that we're dealing with now, here? Nah. Anyway, shout out to the tattoonery here in College Park, Maryland. Blake, the tattoos are healing nicely, really good, really well. Thank you. I want to give also a shout out to First Editing book. My first book is being re-edited and re-released, and then the other two books that I did not release are going to be released sometime later, either later this month or next month. But the first book will be released in a couple weeks, and of course I'll let you know where you can find it and buy it. It's a fictional book talking about the end. Well, I want to get into it, but it's pretty much about racism. But it's all about aliens and all this stuff. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. All right, that's all for now. I hope this video went better than the first one. Now that I know the time frame I'm working in. So anyway, welcome to the new year. Welcome to the new decade. EndRacismForever.org. And remember, only you are the answer. You are the answer to ending racism forever. You are the answer to ending racism forever. And if you want to donate, just go to our organization page, www.endracismforever.org. Click on the donations if you want to. It's up to you. I'm not forcing you, but if you want to, then you can. EndRacismForever.org.